When I was in college, I remember my friends and I there was this rule that I don't think we really came up with it, but we certainly respected it, and it was, we called it the 10-minute rule, which basically meant this: if you were in class or getting ready for class and the teacher was late, like say it was an 11 o'clock class, and the teacher wasn't there, he or she had 10 minutes, and if they weren't there by 10 minutes after the start of the class, we were able to go. And that wasn't written anywhere. It wasn't in any student handbook or anything like that, but we just sort of, somebody came up with it and we very much followed it. So I remember a couple of times, I suspect, but I remember one time in particular, there was a class that we just desperately wanted to not be in, and the clock was ticking, and it was getting close to the 10-minute mark, and we were just almost counting the seconds. And we got up, and I think it was like 10 after, and then we got up, and then a bunch of us we split, and we started making our way down the hallway. And in the distance, one of the kids saw the professor coming toward them, and yelled out the name, yelled out that there's the teacher, and then everybody just kind of went in different directions, and ultimately didn't go to class. So some people would leave, and some people stayed. Everybody didn't do that. You might be wondering if I stayed or if I went. That's not really relevant here for the conversation. But I remember, I was one of the guys who ran, and the ones who stayed, they were different. They were different, really. Their attitude was different, way different than ours was. We were so we kind of didn't really want to be there, and we're only there because we had to be there, and it was kind of immature. And then there were always a handful of kids who weren't looking at the clock and were taking the class seriously, and certainly didn't get up and run. It didn't follow the 10-minute rule, and they were just way more committed to the class, the subject matter, just being a student in general than we were. And anyway, I guess those of us in that group who were the ones who would check the clock and run, we probably got less out of it. We certainly got less out of those classes because we just weren't as committed to them as we should have been. We weren't taking them as seriously. They just didn't matter to us as much. And I thought about all that for this simple reason, and it's really my point to all of you. Mass in these COVID days. I'm just certainly noticing that there are many people that have come back as restrictions have become less and it's become less dangerous. People are back, but there's also people that aren't. They're just people who haven't yet come back. I'm surprised, and I'm not talking about people who shouldn't be back for health reasons, or maybe their age. I'm talking about, in some cases, families and couples and individuals who were really regulars pre-COVID, and I think they're out. They're out and about, and they're not doing lockdown, quarantine stuff in any other aspect of their lives, I don't think. But they haven't come back to church, and I guess I'm just asking, maybe the message here is for those who have been back, thank you. And for those who haven't, maybe to be challenged a little bit. It reminds me a little bit of the way I was in that classroom. It was like, well, if I kind of sort of didn't have to be there, I wasn't going to be there, and I just wasn't that committed to it. And then there were those who were, and anyway, some of that just sort of came back to me in thinking about these groups of people, those who were here and those who were not so much. I think, well, I know it was St. Patrick's Day, March 17th was the first Mass that we live streamed. I think the weekend before, if I remember, the bishop said, you don't have to go to Mass. So, they lifted the obligation. And then a couple of days later on the 17th, it was like done. It was no Masses. Things just got worse. And yeah, pretty much we've been live streaming ever since. I'm so grateful to the crew here at Beach Catholic, the staff who just stepped up in so many ways and never really stopped, making so much of what we offered possible. It began with just the Mass, I guess, but shortly after, other things. I remember being down on the beach. We prayed the Rosary. We had adoration in the church. Nobody in the church, but we prayed and live streamed it. And then with time, things started to get a little bit better. So we were able to kind of get out there, open up a little bit, and some of the things that we did. We had adoration in the parking lot. I think that was the first kind of real outdoor event we did, and we had a great night down at the grotto. Dominic, our seminarian, gave a great talk. So such a prayerful night. The God Isn't Dead series, we had a real great night down here on the lawn. A few others have been since rained out, but we're gonna absolutely get them back going down at the grotto. The weather's a little better. So I guess the point is, we're back. We're definitely back. The Mass schedule is completely back, and but the one thing that's not completely back is everybody being here. And those who can, you guys need to come on back. We need you for sure. We miss you for sure, and you need to be here. So hope to see you guys way sooner than later.